Our second speaker, Ramesh Prasad, I met him last year when we did a cycling tour across Tamil Nadu. A very positive man. I mean, he had hardly cycled 150 kilometers before the ride, and he finished close to 700 kilometers of cycling over 5 days. Works for an organization called One Influencer, and has been in NLP industry for quite some time. Has rich 20 years of work experience in multiple domains. And welcome, Ramesh.
Yeah, you can go ahead. I'm sorry, with your permission, sir? Yes.
No bias. No bias.
Okay, just want to check how much time do I have?
30 minutes.
30 minutes starting from now. Are you sure about that? Okay.
Yeah. 30 minutes.
Thank you very much. So, that was very interesting to hear after a very long time. Very, very long time. So, being a part of the corporate world for 20 years, I moved out of corporate world and spent, I think, almost around 4 years now with NLP. And back to listening to market research and a whole lot of stuff was, I felt all of a sudden it's too big a subject and a topic. But it was nice to hear Praveen. And Praveen has a signature laugh. I don't know whether you heard of it. Would you like to do a demo of it? So in other words, it's called whole body laughing. Yes. Okay, so the topic is NLP, Neuro-linguistic program. And it's quite a big topic, so I was just interested in knowing, okay, how do I go about in 30 minutes? Should I tell you what's NLP? If you know NLP, fine, then I can tell you the applications of NLP into the business world. So how would you like to have it instead of me doing the talk? And let me tell you, NLP is not about talk, it's all about you as an individual over there. So I'd like to kind of open it and might be a few of you who know about NLP. And I'm sure a lot of you do not know about NLP. So just a quick kind of suggestion from you for me to take this forward. Okay, how many of, yeah. Okay.
I will second that.
Yes. Yes.
What a bit of introduction. Yeah. Because all that I know about NLP was natural language processing.
Oh my God. Okay, how many of you heard of the word called natural language processing? Oh my God. And how many of you? Oh my God. Okay. And how many of you heard the word called Neuro-linguistic program? Okay, excellent. So just, yeah.
There is a certification course in the NLP.
Yes. So have you done a certification course? Okay. So for all those of you who lifted your hand. Advertisement.
Fashion statement.
Okay.
More training pedagogies and other things saying this is NLP certified type.
Oh my God. Okay.
Every newspaper, the last page has the NLP.
Last page was the standard.
Yes. So the application. So I just want to check. Your name is? Lakshman Pillai and Mani. So if you were the people asking for the application of NLP into the business, into work. So can you just let me know what's your understanding in your own words, whatever is your understanding about this term called NLP or the subject called NLP?
I read a book about 13-14 years ago.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Yes.
But one thing that I remembered in my heart from that book is that, which I mentioned in the last discussion, the maturity continuum of something from the unconscious incompetence to unconscious incompetence level. And so that pattern that I remember reading from that NLP book, so unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence to conscious competence and finally to unconscious competence. So that one thing that I remember from the book which I read 13-14 years ago.
Yes.
And then I don't know whether that the anchoring that Anthony Robbins is talking about is something directly or indirectly related to NLP.
Okay.
So these are the two examples that I can give.
How about you, Mani? Thank you very much, Mr. Pillai.
Yeah, I could connect with the same topic, and what I was looking for, right? My thought process was,
So in your understanding, according to your map, whatever is your understanding about the word NLP, or what is that you know about NLP?
right.
So there is, in NLP, one of the belief is there is nothing called right, there is nothing called wrong. Whatever works.
This is about hypnotizing or maybe motivating people trying to behave in certain way, something like that.
Okay, notice. So notice what's happening. Now, I'm bringing this. Yes, I'm going. Mr. Pillai, I'm going to use you as an example because this is the second time you. So when you ask the question to Praveen, you remember you asked a question, and you're asking a question now to me. So your second part, the question had two lines. The second question was, do you think the second model will work or the first model work? That's what your question you asked him. So now you are asking me a question. The question is, do you think, is it hypnotizing or?
Something close to, instructing the mind, either call it hypnotizing or motivating. One is something negative angle, other one is something
Yes.
positive angle.
Yes.
To make, understand the behavior or even observe the body language of somebody
Yes.
and emulate that language in my brain, my body, so that behaving the same.
Yes. Okay, so if I might just use this example of yours. So if I just open it up to all of you. So what kind of a question is that? So if you look like Pillai asking the question to Praveen, okay, and similarly now he's asking a question. So do you think this is second model or first model, or is it about hypnotism or studying patterns or whatever you said now? So, sorry? Yes, so any kind of thought you hold on the way he's asking questions? Objective type.
So guiding the discussion, in terms of leading questions, in terms of what you want people to think, or what you want people to form opinions.
Exactly. So if I want to become friends with Pillai, the best thing is to say yes, because he has, in other words, he has processed the information already. He is expecting an answer which he already holds in his mind somewhere. So do you think the second model or the first model? I would have thrown back, if it's okay, Praveen. I would have thrown back and asked him, which model do you think will be effective for you? He would have said, maybe the first model, maybe. Similarly, when he stated this fact now in this case where he said, is it about hypnotism or, in other words, he's checking, it is objective, but somewhere the body has processed the information already, and in his map, he holds some answers. And for me to build relationship and rapport with him, what do? I just agree with him. So if you say, this is NLP, yes, this is NLP. So this is NLP, we say. So there is no particular definition of NLP. There are around about 50 to 60 definitions. So I would like to work real time, where I would like to pick up things which I noticed from you, from the last talk which he did, which was a big talk to me, okay, and some of the questions which you asked. So I'm observing all the time. So I'm coming back to you as a person. So if you say, what's NLP? NLP is the study of what works for you is one, I said. We say it's a study of maybe your experience in your world, So one of the belief of excellence is, I'll use this word called belief of excellence. So some people call that presuppositions. Okay, just remember it's a belief of excellence. Is the map, okay, is not the territory. What's your understanding about this? The map is not the territory? Yes. So here the map indicates, sorry, somebody said some there's on that corner something.
The walking code saying that when you are in the terrain, that gives you a follow that map.
Yes. And here the terrain is here. So it's your map. So I'm more interested, for example, Pillai has a map here. Praveen has a map here from where he speaks. Shivakumar has a map here. Okay, I have a map. And are our maps the same? So when we speak, when we communicate, in the business of communication, you and I speak from our own maps. And we have a right there, we have a wrong there, we have a yes, we have a no. What else? This is good, this is bad, this is true, this is false.
Right, maybe.
I can do this, I cannot do this.
Sound of silence.
Sound of silence. So,
What South Indian conserves has.
yes, yes. So, when we say the map is not the territory, what would be an objective for this? When the maps are different, and my map is different from your map, what would be an objective? What are you doing on your day-to-day functionality as managers, as team leaders, as people managers, as individuals? Whatever role are you? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis in the business of communication?
Synchronizing the maps.
Exactly. And what else? So how is it going? How is the map synchronized? Do you think you'll be able to synchronize it?
It's about connecting the map to make the area bigger.
Yes. So just to again bring up the evidence. So in other words, we say NLP is all about studying patterns. So now the question which Pillai asked is, can you repeat the question, Pillai?
He's getting the angle.
Exactly.
First
So
question or second?
the question which you asked me now, is it about?
Converging the map to make the territory bigger.
Yes. So the questions are, is it about? So it has an answer already. So in other words, we are studying patterns. So I'm studying individual patterns. For example, when you talk about organizations has patterns, individuals have patterns. So here I'm more interested in studying in individual patterns. So when I recognize individual patterns, it becomes easy for me to work along. So when you said synchronize, I prefer to use the word called a rapport. Okay. So we'll say in the application of the business world, the first thing which anybody and everybody looks forward in NLP is, we call it as rapport building. Okay. It's a big word. There's a lot of work for you to do rather than for the opposite person to do. Right? Of course, it's a 2-day training if you come to a rapport building training. So, yes.
Would it be right to say if it is, how would rapport building be different from empathic learning or empathizing?
I don't know. What do you think?
So it's the same pattern. This is the same pattern.
So, there are 2 ways of learning, one is, incidentally, we all come from a way, the modern way of education. Even I come from a convent-based education, so is the head learning. And second is when we go back to the olden days where most of us as Indians were lucky to be fortunate where we had a whole body learning also. So what is the difference between a head learning and a whole body learning? Now that's NLP, I would say.
So is it about being diplomatic rather than quick learner?
Exactly, because I don't know what he has in his map. So in fact, I could give you a head answer, which might be right, which might be wrong, which might match up, so I don't know. And these are big terms for me, empathy and all this. I can tell what I know about rapport building. Yeah, so coming back to you. So I'm kind of working at a process level. One is the content of what is this, what's that. But I'm trying to take it up at a process level. So as managers, as people managers, okay, your role, are you into the content area, handling this, or you're managing processes? And when you're managing process, what outcomes do you hold for yourself? So yes, NLP is all about understanding how processes work at a bigger level. So we say, I'd like to answer this question about head learning and so you remember the day, how many of you some of you could be good. What is the formula for tan theta? Oh my God. Good, yeah. That's called whole body learning. For those of you who didn't answer, you are like somebody like me. In fact, I wrote the exam and threw it off. That's it. And I forgot. So incidentally, most of the format of education is head learning. I learn from my exams. Once the exam is done, the books goes to a corner. What's next? So I invite my head to learn. So when you originate question, incidentally, in an environment where we are working today, this so-called struggle is there between head learning and whole body learning. What's a whole body learning? So if I take the example of a child, you tell the child, don't go near the fire, you'll hurt yourself. The child says, yes, I think I understand, or I don't understand, whatever in his own language. But the moment it goes and touches fire, what happens? It starts crying. So it's a whole body learning. The next time, do you think the child will go there? So my invitation is, when you ask questions, okay, how is this going to help me in terms of my outcome? Right? So coming back to NLP. So what's NLP? Okay, so one of the definitions, NLP is a study of how you think, how you process information in your mind, how you run strategies consciously, how you run strategies unconsciously. And let me tell you, like Pillai said, 80%, maybe 90% of the time, you are running unconscious strategy all the time. And what is that you expect when you are running unconscious strategies or conscious strategies? What is that you expect? You expect results. You want things to work the way you want. Right? So the question which you might want to ask is, do you know how you do what you do? So that's one definition of NLP. So when talk about neuro, linguistic is about language. So the focus is, how is that I am communicating? Right? So when I picked up Mr. Pillai as an example of Praveen here, how is that I am communicating to the world? When I communicate, do people kind of respond to me or react to me? Do I demonstrate patterns in communication? All the time. So I just picked up a pattern here as an example. There's another pattern. Shivakumar, I need your permission to quote you here. So Shivakumar asked a question, right? And so if I ask you this between Shivakumar, yes, your name, sir? Kumar. Okay. So Kumar and Shivakumar, both of them asked a question. How different was that question? And you can give an honest feedback. How different? So that is the content. You are going to, what is the question is the content. So I'm going, if you recollect back, how did Shivakumar come about in terms of asking a question which he wanted to ask? And how did Kumar come about asking the question which he wanted to ask? So how was it for you sitting there and listening to you? How was it for you listening to both of them? And mind you, you could also be doing, mind you, you could also be doing something similar. So do you know how you are communicating to the world? And how does the world respond or react to you? In other words, I demonstrate patterns all the time. So I'm looking for patterns. Yes, there was a distinctive pattern which the way Shivakumar came about. There was a distinct pattern which Kumar came about. So do you know what kind of patterns were demonstrated? So did you like listening? So if I were to ask you this question, it's very direct. Did you like listening to Shivakumar's way of asking questions? This is yes, this is no. Somebody is doing this. In fact, that is so. So, in other words, let me tell you this: there is nothing called right, nothing called wrong. But the one belief of excellence here, another one is, we say the meaning of the communication. The meaning of the communication is the effect. Understanding of this is, so that is how I have communicated. Whatever output you got it, maybe you wanted that output, you didn't want that output, but that is how I have communicated. Right? So there is nothing called right, nothing called wrong. Okay, so just to help you understand a little bit more about NLP, I'm going to do a small exercise within the time frame we have. Just turn to the person next to you. Next to you. Whoever is next to you. Preferably a partner. Preferably a partner. So maybe you can, yes. And you have a partner with you? Yes. Excellent. You have a partner? Do you have a partner? Partner? Would you like to come here, gentlemen? Yeah, here. Divakar needs a partner? You have a partner. Okay, excellent, wonderful. So the question which you might want to ask is, okay, so just take half a minute, a quick half minute. Okay, we call this speed modeling or whatever it is. Okay, Sorry?
The patterns have changed.
Okay. So ask this question. So the statement is this. So you are going to share, for example, if it is A and B, A is going to share to B, the person I admire in my life is, and then you go on to share with the other person. The other person might ask you a question, or who is the person whom you admire, and then switch over in the next half minute. So it's 1 minute exercise for both of you to complete. Right? Is that okay? Yes? Just go ahead and make an attempt. I'll come back to you. How much time do I have? 10-15 minutes like கேள்வி பதில் கூட இருக்குதா? முடிச்சிடலாம்ல? Done? Both ways? Okay. Okay, done both ways? The person I admire is done? Excellent. Now, still going happening there. Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, so now if I might invite you back once again, the question which B, so if between you and both, so if one is A and second is B, now B is going to ask another question to A. Okay, so one is now you share this, what is the, whom do you admire? Now the question which you might want to say is, so if I say like this, so one thing that people admire in me is, one thing that people admire in me is. Clear? Clear on that? Yeah. One thing which people admire in me. Just one thing. I can give you a list of 3 things. I know you'll have more than one. But you can start with one. One thing which people admire in me is. Just go ahead and have a chat. So the person, the other person. Okay, the other person can ask this question. Hello? The other person so if he says, you know what, people admire X, Y, Z in me and whatever it is, the other person can say, okay, the question which you're going to ask is, in what way? Okay, admire in you in what way? Fine? Okay, a minute.
All right. Okay. There's a lot of admiration definitely happening.
So let me come back to the application of NLP in business or in work. The core of NLP, so the founders of NLP who brought NLP in the year 1974, they went out to study how is that a few people are highly successful in whatever they do. What is that these guys do differently? Whether it rains or sunshine, okay, these guys do good business. What is that they do differently? So in other words, they went on to study models who were excellent. So there were a couple of names and so on. So thus began the study of NLP. So we say, what's NLP? NLP is modeling, studying and modeling excellence. Studying and modeling excellence, you can talk about individual excellence. So in other words, if I ask this question, do you hold excellence within you as an individual? Yes? No. So big yes, yes. So if you have answered that question, one thing which people admire in me, then I would say that's an excellence which you hold within you. In other words, each one of you hold excellence within you. Is the world around you seeing that excellence which you hold? One. Okay. So when we study about excellence, if you're talking about organization excellence, okay, people have vision statement and so on. How does organization excellence come about? It starts definitely with individual excellence, right? And you know, in your company, in your department, in your vertical, in your department, in your team, there are some people who are model of excellence whom you think are highly resourceful. And how is this guy able to get things done? He gets the project done in a very short time. He's efficient. He has moved up the ladder quickly. How is he able to do all this stuff? What is that he has in him? So we say, when you ask the question how, okay, then there is a structure to it. So we say NLP is a study of the structure of that excellence. In fact, we say you can model that excellence which the other person has. So if we are talking about organization excellence, where let's say in a department, if this person is productive and highly resourceful, I want to have 10 more people like this. Man, my productivity will go up. Can NLP help? It will definitely help. So we say the core of NLP is actually, so when the founders of NLP, when they brought up this, when they studied people, okay, one was John Grinder, who was a language specialist, and second was Richard Bandler, who was a mathematician. These guys joined hand to study successful people. So there were names like Eric Milton, who was a hypnotherapist. There was Virginia Satir, who was a family therapist, and so on. So breaking it down to your level, for example, do you recognize excellence? So if I ask you this question, when was the last time you actually looked for excellence in your environment where you operate? So if I ask you the same question, if you happen to turn to the next person, you might know the person, you might not know the person, but if you happen just to look at him in terms of his physiology, in terms of the way he is coming about, what excellence are you noticing in the person next to you? In other words, are you recognizing, are you looking for excellence all the time? Or busy with a lot. So excellence can be even in family, for that matter. It can be with the children, it could be with your spouses, it could be with your employees. So if you were to take a minute, now there's some work for you to do, he has information to be processed. If you take a minute and share, okay, the excellence I notice, the excellence which I notice in you, Praveen, is you come about as, so whatever, I can give my words, but let me hold it for Subhash, right? So what kind of excellence are we noticing around this? Would you like to take just a minute to identify whether I am actually started noticing excellence in others? Remember, it's not a feedback, it's not about positivity. I'm talking about excellence, and excellence is a big word. You might know the person, you might not. Would you like to take a minute and check it out? So the excellence which I'm noticing, for example, your name is Karthik. So Karthik, the excellence which I'm noticing in you is you are a team player. To me, you came about as a team player. You are very soft spoken. And the evidence for this is when I said, would you like to come down here? The person, your name, sir? Jay. Jay had a, yes. But the moment, so among the three, you were the person who took the lead to come over here. So I'm looking for excellence all the time. So to me, I would say Karthik comes about as a team player, and I would like to have in my team, because somewhere I find that he is very flexible in the way he has come about. And I need people who are flexible in my team. In fact, people manage is all about.
How do you know that he is not acting?
He is not?
Acting. imitating certain behaviors that will proceed?
How do I know? I don't know. Well, if he's doing it also, I'm willing to accept it. Because I have certain outcomes, and if my outcome matches his outcome, then that's fine.
So it takes certain time to
Yes, for you. For you.
it takes a lot of time to understand the image, certain image of a particular person.
Yes, yes, for you. So just take a minute. Yes, sir. No, sir. Depends on their outcomes. So depending on what you want. For example, if I have to go to buy something, I may behave differently. If I'm doing a training, I might behave. I do definitely have many phases to my life, and I don't know. So whatever works for me, I would say. So I'm seeing that you have a question behind this question. So the purpose of you asking this question is? Okay. Yes. Oh, you want to answer him? Okay, I'll hold on you. So my invitation is, can you look into the person who's sitting next to you once again? Okay, and say the excellence which I notice you in is whatever. Because the core of NLP is modeling excellence. So in other words, we all talk about success all the time. Success has got a structure. Success has got a structure. You can be a successful homemaker. You can be a successful cook. You can be a successful mother. You can be a successful father. You can be a successful employee. You can be a successful manager, team manager, person, whatever it is. So whatever success means to you, and NLP is the study of those structures. So I would say, like, if somebody can do it, so another belief of excellence is, if I can do it, then you can also do it. So if X can become Y, sorry, is that wrong example? X cannot become Y. So in other words, if somebody is very, very successful in his business, then NLP teaches you to model the structure of how he actually thinks, so that you can also apply the same structure and get. For example, let me ask you this question. How many of you are good in time management? 9 o'clock means sharp 9 o'clock you're here. So, exactly. How many of you actually do a hard work? So I know people who 9 o'clock means they are there. Come what may, 5-10 minutes they are there at 9 o'clock. And there are people who take the effort of, they get up 1 hour early, they see things happen, but somehow still they don't make it at 9 o'clock. So what's the difference between this and that? They just do not hold the structure of time in their map. Now what you said is very important. So when I want to model time management, I look out for people who are good in time management. I would like to study the structure so that when I apply that in my life, I know I'll be successful in a particular role.
I don't show up at 9 a.m.
Looking at you, so.
No, but his question was, do you show up at 9 a.m.? I don't. So I can't reach me.
Okay. So would you like to turn to the person next to you? We have a minute?
Yes.
How much time do we have?
Last
5 minutes. Well, just take a minute. Just take a minute. And so the excellence which I noticed in you is, make an eye contact, say it as if you mean it. Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Of course, I might want to check with you how was that receiving some people recognizing excellence in that short moment. Feeling good? Wow, excellent. In other words, the world is always hungry for good. Are you feeding it? It's in your workplace too. So I somehow like the simple books which are written. There's a book called Well Done. Exactly. So when is the last time? Your name is? Raj. Rajshri, okay. When is the last time you actually caught people doing right and rewarded them? Yeah. Okay. So something which is in NLP, when you come to a course, so there are different levels of courses, like somebody said certification course. So I kind of do 2-day foundation courses in Chennai. I do it in the university, in Anna University. Every alternate months I work along. And in fact, let me say that I have a lot of participants, especially from CTS. I don't know what your L&D does, but I do have a lot of people coming from CTS in particularly. Hats off. There are different levels of program. There's something called practitioner, then there's a master practitioner where we actually teach you how to study the structure of modeling and all the stuff, right? But if you recollect, I was speaking about neuro, how do you think, how do you speak? I was talking about communication patterns. You recollect that? I was asking patterns. So one of the patterns between the way Shivakumar asked question and Kumar asked question was, Shivakumar's question, by the time he came to a question, he had a lot of preamble. Okay, so in other words, for him to arrive at something, he has a lot of work to do. In his map, he feels that I need to explain so many things to the questioner, so that the questioner gets my question right. So there is work for him to do here, right? So maybe it's a pattern Shivakumar holds, I don't know because I haven't seen it, but this is just one example I'm taking here. Whereas in case of Kumar, he's so straight to the point in asking question. So in terms of communication, we can still bifurcate to understand how is that Kumar comes about asking a question straight, whereas Shivakumar had to do a lot of work to arrive at a question, whereas when Pillai asks question, it has an answer in it. So in Pillai's question, every question he asks, it will have an answer in it. So easy for me to work with Pillai because I have to just agree. Yeah? So it will be does it or is it so? All those questions. Right? So so we can unpack communication in a big way here. The third is something called programming. So like how you guys program a lot of stuff, right? Right, Ramkumar? I don't know whether you program. Okay. So similarly, you and I are running programs all the time, right? And our program, maybe right from the day we became aware of ourselves, like as a child, when we grew up in an environment, all those so-called belief systems came into us. I can do this. I cannot do this. This is right. Oh, this self-limiting belief about maybe high self-esteem, low self-esteem, inferiority complex, superiority complex. I can speak good English. I can program this. All this part, whatever you're running today, even today, for that matter, your decision making, you're moving from one level to the next level. Somewhere, all your so-called belief systems comes into your role. Your programming comes to your role. In NLP. So when we say if a particular program is not working, what do you do, Ramkumar?
Debug.
So if you have something similar inside you, inside you, you can actually kind of let it go or change certain belief system. In fact, if a belief system is not serving me, how do I let go of the belief system and bring in new belief system which will serve me to achieve my outcome in my life? My outcome could be a market researcher, my outcome can be to become the owner of a company or to run my own brands or to get my promotion to the next level or to serve the community, whatever you want, right? So yeah, that's the gist of a little bit about NLP, which I think I'll pause at the moment, Subhash. So should I take some questions or we have done?
We can take one question.
1, 2, 3 questions and then we leave. Yeah.
You've already been having close
I want
patterns
to change his thinking at me.
You can give three choices.
No. It's a matter of asking questions.
Get the answer first, he meant.
So there is actually, when you talk about ways of questioning, there is something called clean language and clean questions. There is something called clean language and clean questions. You might want to explore what this. You can hit Google clean question and see. So if your question has an answer, then somewhere you would like to do it always your way rather than because your question so far had the answers. Yes, we can unpack all those things. I'm just picking up. So in other words, as human beings, we are radiating signals all the time, data all the time. The world outside picks up those data and say, oh, you are like this. Oh, you are doing this. Your appraisal, whatever it is. So if something, whatever the world is outside is saying is true, because somewhere I am responsible for it. I am leaking it all the time. I'm giving permission for the world to pick up all those data and say, wow, you're this. Wow, you're fantastic. You are a model of excellence. It's an asset having you in the organization. We love to have more of you in our organization. You come about as a fantastic dad. You have a very excellent way of asking questions, Pillai. How many of them actually ask questions? You do actually step up and ask questions. So I would say that's excellence. In fact, you represent people in many ways in asking questions. Okay. So, one question. Which is the one question? Yes. Anybody who's on this side?
It's just, it's a personal opinion, which is a question you ask, I ask can be classified into three categories. One, I consider you as an expert in which I have no knowledge of it. I ask you an open-ended question, what is NLP? Suppose I have some knowledge in some subject, in your subject, I give you an example like what he did with three answers or three inbuilt answers in that, and supplement your idea to it so that I boast to others, I know this. Third is philosophical question. If I consider you as a sage, I can ask you a question which is very generic, which I cannot, which nobody knows, or I want your opinion on that. So I classify question into three types, and I found your answers to be one interesting Zen story, which I want to share. It will take only 2 minutes. An expert archer was showing his proficiency coming to a village, and he could hit on the bullseye, and he could split that arrow again and again and again. So he was so master archer that he started telling everyone, no one can beat me like that. So it went to his head. The Zen master, it came to the knowledge of Zen master. He said, come along with me. So he took him to a place, to a dilapidated bridge, where one wrong step, you will fall into an abyss and die. So he took him there carefully. He just maneuvered into the center of the bridge, asked him to hold his hand and come. He was hell scared to walk with him. He took him to the middle of the bridge. He took his bow and arrow, calmly identified the biggest tree, just aimed at the tree. It hit it. He just gave the arrow to him, and he walked back. So, I can be an expert in my domain, in my area, but when things go to my head, the guru takes him to a different domain and asks him to do a simple thing of using your bow and arrow, which he doesn't do it. I find you as the guru, who takes me to NLP and hits a simple arrow, which I can't do it.
So,
thank you.
Thank you very much for that, but let me give you patterns, because you're demonstrating this pattern again. And the pattern is 2 minutes. So, if this is working for you, if this is serving for you, excellent. Use this as a jumping board. But if you feel that you're stuck, you might want to approach the guru with the bow and arrow. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.